Good morning, and welcome to Amherst Middle School. My name is Matt Giles, and I am the principal here at Amherst Middle School. We are so honored to host this Veterans Day Assembly to honor and thank all the men and women who have served in the United States military. As I reflect on what Veterans Day means to me, all of my family members and friends that have served come to mind. I am so grateful for my family members that served in the military and the sacrifices they and their families made for our country. I also think about the many freedoms that we have as Americans because of the sacrifice and service of our veterans and their families. Thank you to all the veterans in the audience today for serving, fighting for, and protecting for the freedoms that we have as Americans. Moreover, our students need to know the importance of military men and women and the impact they have on our country. It is important for them to know the sacrifices that are made to provide them with the opportunities that they have in America. We hope that on this day, you know that you are greatly appreciated by so many. My grandfather, World War II veteran, liked to say, "It is what it is, but it can become what you make of it." I am so proud that our veterans chose to have this mindset in the situations and the conflicts that they were a part of. My hope is that we can all have this mindset in the situations that we face. Thank you for being here today and for your service. I will now turn it over to our student MCs, Harley Sprouse, Janaea Pruitt, Cam Hamilton, and Parker Coley. To lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, Senior Airman Helen Floyd will come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, I'm going to ask you to remain standing as our AMS chorus sings the national anthem, directed by Miss Eliza Nogueras.
Oh, say, can you sing by the dawn's early lights, when so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights, o'er the ramparts we watched,
Veterans Day is a national public holiday set aside to honor those who have served in the armed forces.
The holiday falls on the anniversary of the end of World War I. It was originally commemorated the armistice or peace agreement signed on November 11, 1918 at 11 a.m.
In 1954, the United States renamed Armistice Day Veterans Day. Since 2001, the Congress and the President have also designated the week in which Veterans Day falls as National Veterans Awareness Week.
On November 11, 1953, the city of Newburgh, Kansas, held what is believed to be the first all-Veterans Day observance in the United States.
Veterans Day is one of the two patriotic holidays observed on the same date each year. What is the other one? Independence Day, July 4th. Veterans, the AMS 8th grade band will now present the United States Armed Forces Melody. When the song is played for your branch of military service, we invite you to stand as we honor you for your service.
And the order of the branches that are being played is going to be Coast Guard, it'll be followed by the Marines, the Army, then it's the Air Force, and it concludes with the Navy. Typically, I'm up front, I'll announce, but I'm filling in for 6 students today.
All students at AMS were given a written assignment. The following students were selected from their grade to present their essays. Knox Nemick from 6th grade.
Most people think of Veterans Day as barbecues and fireworks, but that simply is not the truth. Veterans Day is made to honor the courageous heroes who saved, defend, and stand up for a great nation, America. Many people believe veterans are those who fought in the past, but these heroes can be fighting today. I'm thankful for my religious freedom, being able to be what I want to be, being able to go and live where I want. I'm very thankful for being able to believe in God, and being able to worship Him how I want, where I want, and when I want. I'm very thankful I do not have to practice a certain religion and everyone can choose their own beliefs. If that is not the case, I'd have to worship in fear or practice a specific religion. I'm very grateful for being able to be what I want to be when I grow up. In some countries, you are told what you'll be when you grow up. But in America, you choose your own job. America is a land of opportunity where you choose your life. Once again, I'm very grateful for that, and I would not trade it for anything. Lastly, I'd like to thank you for the freedom to live where I want to live. I love Virginia and all the people there. You veterans are always moving, not knowing if you'll live or not, and you put your life in jeopardy for our freedom. My uncle is fighting for the Army, and he has to move around all the time. And I bet that is frightening, and I'm grateful I do not have to do that. Thank you for that. I'm very thankful for all this, and I'm very grateful for you to risk your life for America. Like I said, I'm very thankful for what you have done for this country, and I'm very thankful for being able to live where I want, be what I want, and worship who I want. I'm very lucky to live in America.
Welcome 7th grader Daniel Minter to read his essay.
Dad, this is for you as well as all of the other veterans that I've served. My dad was a corpsman in the Navy. He doesn't talk about it much, but when he does, he tells interesting stories about his time serving. At one point, he showed me his uniform. I was blown away. The camo just looked so good, and I even wore it as my Halloween costume one year. Knowing I had honored him in the best way I could brought a feeling that can only be described as pure joy. When I was young, they taught us about the veterans that had served for us, but I always thought that it was just one other thing that they taught us in school. When I was older, about 10, I realized that they did more than just serve. My dad and all of the other veterans risked their lives. He served for my country with pride and valor, knowing that he could die. I will always remember what my dad and his fellow veterans did so that I could have a reason to stand for my country. I know that it is hard to go into battle and leave everything behind. Nevertheless, you went out there and fought bravely for me and my freedom, showing pride for your country. You sacrificed many things so I could be free. You were willing to take on the challenge that many people would never face. You were willing. You showed me your pride in what you did for me, and I thank you for all that you did. You did it all for me and my country. You were willing to take the risk in battle for your country. You had sacrificed so much of yourself for me and my freedom, and forgetting that is impossible. I will never forget your sacrifices so I could be free. You put yourself in battle to show that you wanted to fight for your country and to show that you were willing to make those sacrifices. I know that it was painful and treacherous, but no one has any idea what made it that way. People know that you made sacrifices for them, but they don't understand the gravity of what you actually did. People think they know, but they can only guess. Knowing what you suffered through makes me proud to be who I am and where I am in the world. You gave me a reason to stand and sing at baseball games, a swagger in my shoulders as I walk, and you gave me a pledge to my nation in the morning at school. You fought so I could be prideful of my country and who we are. You gave me my freedom and preserved a flag for me to sing to. I'm thankful for all of your work you put in for me so I can be free and so my country is safe. People walk around every day not thinking about your struggles that you face in battle and on that field. People don't always stop and appreciate your tireless work that you put in for us. The remembrance of how you fought for my nation and how you bravely stepped out there and made sacrifices for us will always stick with me. You gave me pride for my country and the people in it. When other people might not have the courage, you stepped up and fought. Your lasting sacrifices are unforgettable and they show your bravery. You gave your all so I could be free and prideful when I pledged to my flag. Your service cannot be appreciated enough. I thank you for all that you have accomplished. We thank you.
From the 8th grade, welcome Mackenzie Campbell to read her essay.
Dear veterans, veterans have served our country with bravery and have sacrificed to uphold our freedoms. As Dan LaPinks once stated, on this Veterans Day, let us remember the service of our veterans and let us renew our national promise to fulfill our sacred obligations to our veterans and their families who have sacrificed so much so that we can live free. Each and every day, millions of people put their lives on the line for our freedom in this country. Without their bravery, courage, and sacrifice, we would not be where we are today. Judd Gregg once said, "The veterans of our military services have put their lives on the line to protect the freedoms that we enjoy. They have dedicated their lives to their country and deserve to be recognized for their commitment. It's not an easy task to risk everything you have to protect everyone else's lives, and this is what our veterans have done. Our military, past and present, continue to fight for our freedoms. Freedom is never free and is often taken for granted. Freedom isn't a generic term. Freedom is being able to speak your mind, being able to vote, being diverse, being able to walk down the street safely, and so much more. Education is one freedom that Americans are lucky to have because it is not given so freely around the world, especially to girls. All of these freedoms are protected by the men and women who have fought for our country. As you go through your day, it's important to remember the sacrifices made by veterans. They ensured the freedom our founding fathers fought for remains at the heart of America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. So even though we don't know them all, we owe them all."
This year saw the passing of distinguished veterans in our community. Taps is a standard bugle call played at a soldier's funeral and special military occasions.
Taps will be played by 8th grader Morgan Falks. The words that go with the 24 musical notes are:
Day is done, gone the sun, from the hills, from the lake, from the sky.
All is well, safely rest, God is nigh.
Thanks and praise for our days, neath the sun, neath the stars, neath the sky.
As we go, this we know, God is nigh. Please stand.
country, Veterans Gardens help to remind us of the sacrifice many have made for our country. 4 years ago, students and teachers at AMS Middle School began the Garden Project to honor veterans that were part of our history.
The process began with dreaming, planning, and then hard work. With the support of local administrators, funds were made available to start the memorial. Anonymous donors also contributed as the word spread about what students were doing at Amherst Middle School.
During summer school 2019, afternoons were spent in project-based learning activities. One of the weeks was dedicated to the Veterans Garden Project. Activities included designing water features, hardscapes, benches, and other decorations, organizing a celebration, and the hands-on task of creating the garden.
Each year, we will be adding to the garden. And this year, Dr. Zablosky, please stand, has agreed to lead a group of community volunteers to develop the gardens and create a space that many will come to visit. If you are interested in learning more about this project or being a part of it, Dr. Zablosky will be at the reception in the library with information and a first draft of the design and layout. We will also be asking our guests to vote on the name of our garden. Students will continue to maintain the garden and be a part of its development.
I would now like to welcome and introduce our guest speaker for this morning. Chaplain Ronald Tomlin, born in Lynchburg, Virginia, March 1951, to Roosevelt and Phyllis Tomlin. The second of 5 siblings, attended public schools in Campbell County and Madison Heights Elementary and Appomattox High School, graduating in 1970. He attended Bluefield Junior College, Bluefield, Virginia, 1970, and Liberty Baptist College, graduating in 1979. Following a second 4-year tour with the Navy, he enrolled at Liberty Baptist Seminary, graduating in 1986, and appointed a Navy chaplain the following year. During his career, he traveled to over 90 foreign countries, served on half a dozen ships, and notably the last command chaplain on the USS John F. Kennedy. In addition, he served 15 different duty stations. His military decorations include 4 Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medals and the Meritorious Service Medal, awarded after 41 years of naval service in 2013. Commander Ron Tomlin, Chaplain, U.S. Navy, is now retired. Let's welcome him.
After hearing the speeches earlier of the students, I'm either going to have to hire them as my speechwriter or I don't hold a candle to them. They were just fantastic. God bless you. Thank you so much for your words. Good morning, students, faculty, and guests. I'm honored to be here, invited to share some thoughts of 41 years of service in the United States Navy. Please rest assured I'm not here to recruit anybody into the military, but anyway, for me to adequately convey my remarks, it would probably take longer than a day, probably a week, because I am a man of few words. And that means the students would be out of class for at least a week. Don't worry, Mr. Giles, I was just kidding. Today is the 105th anniversary of Veterans Day being established, which included, which initially known as the Armistice Day, began by President Woodrow Wilson on November the 11th, 1919. It was renamed in 1954, following the recommendations of various veteran organizations. Other countries commemorate it as an Armistice Day or Remembrance Day. It marks the ending of major hostilities of World War I at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. It is distinct from Memorial Day, as we honor those serving and retired. Once a veteran, you are always a veteran. Not only the stamp of recognition, but the stamp that you stood tall. During my career, as I stated, I visited over 90 foreign countries, sailed about every body of water we have, and half a dozen times to what was commonly referred to as the Persian Gulf. Although the closest I ever got to Iraq was Kuwait. I was in Doha, I was in Afghanistan. I was part of the multinational peacekeeping force as an enlisted person in '82 at the Marine Corps barracks in England. I was also, as a chaplain, I was ashore right before and right after Black Hawk Down in Africa, where the unfortunate death of a Marine ended activity there. When I initially entered a country, one of the projects that I have is do community relation projects. This incorporates going there while they were planning the military operation. I would get together with the NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and plan a Commonwealth project, whether it be painting a school, doing landscaping, or even a building project. Excuse me. And this required a lot of planning, budgeting, and actually traveling to the sites, and also recruiting volunteers. I did it a little bit. Is that a alarm going on? Oh, they have a specific alarm going on. I thought that was a fire alarm. But anyway, or for me to hush. But anyway, I would recruit volunteers. The way I did it, we would go into a country and I would get with the NGOs and then we'd plan what we needed, i.e. paint, brushes, and so forth. I would go to the local merchants and then we would see what they had in stock and then we'd make our budget based on that. But what we did was when we went back, we'd go to these merchants, make the purchase, and when you go in, like the Philippines, and you spend 42,000 pesos, which is, you know, a lot of money for them. In fact, I told the NGO, I said, we made their day. He said, Chaplain, you made their year. They don't have that kind of sale coming in months on end, let alone in a single day. And then we go back and we do the painting and whatever we need to do, and then we donate what is left over to the site. So that, what I incorporate is a win-win-win. But when we initially go in, they think America's very wealthy. We're going to bring in a team of people that will just do grand scale renovations. But my policy and my motto was, you promise small, you deliver large. That way your good intentions are not evil spoken of. Because there will be if you promise the moon and you can't give them but maybe all the sun. When you're dealing with foreign nationals, that's the way you have to do it. As it stated, I was the chaplain on board the John F. Kennedy. The new John F. Kennedy is already staffed with 3 chaplains and is ready to set sail next year in sea trials. But anyway, the last one I served with, I had a total of 6 what they call religious program specialists. They were admin assistants and 2 chaplains that I supervised. And when I say supervised, it's only a military term. It's not taken away from their ministry abilities. It's only from the standpoint that, I guess you might say, don't think, but I was in charge. I would advise them how to process various tasks and make sure they had the equipment to do that. We would, then I would supervise the way they did it. The key thing is, you notice your subordinates, you notice their talents and their abilities, and then you tap in on it. It's kind of like a teacher here. They know, the average student, and I didn't realize this until right before I graduated high school, the teacher is not just so much teaching to one student. They're teaching for generations, because that one student will affect generations with their kids and their kids' kids. We need to respect them and honor them for their sacrifice and their investment in the future of tomorrow. Let alone the future, the present day. But that's, I guess it's capsuled in the expression, As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You gotta allow yourself a dream. You gotta allow yourself to set goals and to achieve those goals and to live those dreams. Personally, I had a dream for years of becoming a Navy chaplain. I just took a scenic route. I started service in 1972 after 4 years and several duty stations. I went back to college and then came back in. And then secondly, I went out again to go back to seminary. Now, not every chaplain that is qualified gets the chaplain corps appointment. When I went through, out of every 10, only 2 got offered the appointment. I was not number 1. But I had the resilience to continue on and never gave up my dream. And several times as a charm because next thing I know I was appointed a Navy chaplain and had literally had a ministry worldwide with individuals. I want to encourage you, especially the students, to always, the foundation you build here as a student in high school. This is the beginning of your career, your life. If they, and this may be true confessions, but if there's a bad mark put on your, due to some action or decision you made that was maybe in error, put on your permanent record card, it will reflect years from now if you ever have to get security clearance. So be kind to yourself. Respect yourself. If you don't respect yourself, nobody else will. And also respect your teachers. They have sacrificed a lot in getting the education and the skill and the knowledge and the calling to be a teacher. The greatest tribute you could pay to a teacher, and the greatest tribute, I'll go with that in a minute, that you pay to a supervisor, is that you go on and use what you've been taught and you succeed. Case in point, when I was aboard the Kennedy, I had 2 chaplains. One was a lieutenant commander and the other one was a fresh called lieutenant. In other words, he's just come into the chaplain corps. I was able to mentor and oversee his actions and so forth. He's a very competent individual, but he just needed some tweaking along the way. And I shared with him some advice and all that. Well, a couple of days ago now, I've been retired 10 years. A couple of weeks ago, this individual was promoted to full captain in the United States Navy. That validated my teaching with him years ago that he was able to rise up and succeed and surpass what I had accomplished in my career. And then to have the tenacity, the resolve, and the knowledge to continue. I never gave up. I always, stepped up when the call was made, even when I was in the reserve unit. And God bless beyond favor and merit when I did get back on active duty and was able to fulfill a dream of being a Navy chaplain. President Kennedy once responded, and this is after he was elected president, about what he wanted to be remembered for. And he says, my greatest achievement was I served in the United States Navy. He was referring to military service. And I guess I mirror that today. But I close with this. Remember that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Nobody will ever think any higher of you than you think of yourself. So think big. I am impressed with the students I see around here. The way they greeted me when I came in, I've been here a number of times, and they're extraordinary. I would not want to match wits with them. I'd lose. They're very talented. Tap into your talent. You know what you do best, and I suggest you continue with tenacity and resolve of a pit bull and never let go. And always look to compliment whoever mentored you, whoever taught you. Have respect for them and respect for yourself, and believe, and you will achieve. May God add his blessing, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you, veterans, for your service.
Thank you, Chaplain Tomlin. Every year we induct 1 to 2 veterans into our Veterans Garden. You heard our students talk a little bit about our Veterans Garden earlier in the program. Out these windows here, we have a few different little mini gardens right now. As referred to earlier, Dr. Zablosky, a master gardener, is going to be looking at revamping that and making a more prominent garden sidescape over here in front of our school. So I would like to first of all encourage you to, when you leave today after the reception in the library, I'd like to encourage you just to walk along. There's garden markers at some of the dogwood trees out front from past veterans that we have honored and done markers for in their memory as well. And then follows along the flags over here to the garden markers that are in these little mini gardens over here. Each veteran that is inducted has a garden marker in the honor or memory in our garden. Last year, VFW Post 9877 donated a bench for our garden, and this fall they volunteered their time to make a cement pad with a Pau Mia tile embedded in the cement. I would like to recognize any members of VFW Post 9877, if you could stand at this time. I'd like to especially thank Mr. Jim Purdy and his partnership with Amherst Middle School and just his drive and getting this moving forward. The bench is now displayed proudly out here with the cement pad that they installed this year and their hard work, and it's just added a beautiful part to our garden. We look forward to incorporating that into the garden even more in the future. At this time, I would like to invite Will Tyler and Renee Tyler, if she's here as well. So if you guys can come on up. We have 2 inductees into our Veterans Garden this year. Renee nominated her grandfather as one of the, actually I'm going to have you stand right down by the blue table if you don't mind, I'm sorry, as one of the nominations, and he was ultimately selected. So Will Tyler is son of Chris Tyler. Renee is granddaughter. Thank you to Renee, his granddaughter, for nominating her grandfather as an inductee into our Veterans Garden. Chris Warren Tyler served in the Army Reserves during the Vietnam War. He was honorably discharged. He was a 1968 graduate of Amherst High School, attended Lynchburg College, and held an associate's degree from Central Virginia Community College. He was employed at Buffalo Air Handling for a number of years. At the end of his life, he was retired and an avid collector of antiques. He passed away on June 11, 2015 at the age of 64. Let's congratulate Mr. Chris Tyler, Private Chris Tyler, on being honored as a member of our Veterans Garden. Thank you for being here today. Any family members of Private Chris Tyler, would you please stand? Any other family members in the? Okay. Thank you so much, Renee, for your nomination of your grandfather. And we will have a marker. Usually what we do, we get the markers made, and then Memorial Day in May is when we put the markers out in the new part of the Veterans Garden. Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite Sandra Davis, daughter of Wood Morcom, to accept this Veterans Garden induction in his memory. I would also like to thank Miss Helen Floyd for nominating Chief Master Sergeant Wood Morcom as an inductee into our Veterans Garden and ultimately selected as an inductee into our garden. Also, I think there's quite a few members of family here, so if you could stand so we could recognize you as well, and then I'll read his bio. Thank you so much for being here today. Wood Morcom Jr. was born in Stapleton, Virginia, in Amherst County on August 2nd, 1925. He enlisted in the Army Air Force on November 5th, 1943 at George G. Meade, MD. He received basic training in Miami, followed by overseas training in Salt Lake City, Utah. Wood served in the China-Burma-India theater during World War II. He flew a spotter plane armed only with a sidearm. During this time, he rescued a wounded British soldier. He also flew components of the atomic bomb to the West Coast. He received the Good Conduct Medal, the Asiatic Pacific Theater Ribbon, and the World War II Victory Medal. He was then stationed at Langley Air Force Base, in which he was assigned to Base Ordnance Department, which included the transfer of nuclear weapons. Wood received a letter of merit for his outstanding conduct, appearance, and attitude during daily duties and inspections. Wood also fought in the Korean War. In 1955, he was assigned to 2nd Air Force. January through May 1958, he received the Outstanding Achievement Award for his part in the Operation Curtain Raiser, which was a missile combat competition. In 1957, he received 3 medals for expert marksmanship while stationed at Ramey Field Air Force Base. He received the highest rank that an enlisted man can receive, Chief Master Sergeant. He received other awards and accommodations, but unfortunately those documents of achievement were ruined by floodwaters. His last 2 years of assignment were at Loring Air Force Base, Limestone, Maine. Wood retired after 20 years of service to his country. After returning to Amherst County, Wood served 18 years in the Amherst County Sheriff's Office. Please join me in welcoming him as an inductee into our Veterans Garden. Thank you, Ms. Davis, for being here to accept that in his memory today.
We will now honor these men with a bagpipe selection by William Plale, Armistice of 1918.
want to take a moment to thank all that participated in our program today. We are grateful that you took time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today as we celebrate our veterans and their families. Veterans and those still serving in our armed forces, thank you for all you have done and will continue to do to serve the United States of America. As we prepare to end our ceremony today, I would like to give a couple of directions. We will have a reception for our guests in the library, which is going to be out this hall to the right, to another right. Our students are going to be lining the hall, and we do this each year as just a walk of honor for you guys, so we can show our appreciation to all of our veterans. There will be light refreshments for you to enjoy as well. Like I said, on the way to the library, our students will be lining the hallways to show their appreciation for all that you have done. We will have our very own school resource officer, Staff Sergeant Brandon Payne, lead the walk of honor to the library. Deputy Payne, if you could please come over here to this door. We're going to ask that all of our veterans line up behind him on each side of the aisles, and we would just like to show our appreciation and our thanks by allowing him to go through this walk of honor, and also to enjoy the refreshments in the library. Thank you again for being here today, everyone. What are you doing here?
Alright guys, when the veterans come through, we're going to cheer, we're going to clap, we're
Jason, what happened?
Alright guys, when our veterans come through, we're going to cheer, we're going to clap, we're going to show them how much we appreciate them, okay? We can say thank you, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying.
all for your service. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for your service. Thank you. Thank you all for your service. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. This was one of your meetings today. Thank you, Chaplain Tony. Come in. Appreciate you. Good job, David. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. How you doing, sir? Thank you. Good to see you. Very good. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Floyd. Yeah, Miss Floyd. Thank you. How you doing? Good. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for coming. Good job. Thank you for your service.